Hi, I'm Rabbi Dunner and welcome to my Friday Erev Shabbat Dvar Torah. Okay, I've got a question for you. Do you believe in God? Really, I mean it. Do you believe in God? Now you're probably thinking, Rabbi Dunner has gone completely crazy. Of course I believe in God. Well, do you? Are you sure? I mean, really sure? Let's leave that question hanging for a minute and let's look at a pivotal moment of Jewish history that is recorded in Parshat Beshalach, this week's Parsha, to see if we can understand what believing in God means, and then maybe you'll be able to answer the question for yourself. A defining moment of Jewish faith took place on the shores of the Yam Suf, the Red Sea. The fledgling Jewish nation found itself in a bit of a pickle, trapped between the devil, let's just say that that's another name for the Egyptian army, and the deep blue sea. The frightened nation had very few choices. Some of them froze in fright. Others wanted to run back to Egypt, straight into the hands of those who had enslaved them for generations. There were others who prayed. Another group wanted to go to war with the might of the Egyptian military. But there was one group, led by Nachshon ben Aminadab, that wanted to forge ahead. They replaced fear with faith, and they actually ran into the sea. In Jewish folklore, this group, headed by Nachshon, has become synonymous with self-sacrifice and courage in the face of overwhelming adversity. Okay, so did you know that it was only when Nachshon ben Aminadab jumped into the Red Sea that it actually split into two and the Jews were able to cross? And as we all know, the Egyptians ran in after them. Then the two parts of the sea came back together and the Egyptian army drowned. What a victory! What a moment of triumph! The Torah defines that moment with the song that we sang once the danger was over and the nation was safe. We say it every morning at Shachrit. It's Oz Yoshim Moshe, and this is what we say: Rabbi Yisroel Salanter gdola asher asa Hashem b'Mitzrayim, vayiro emes Hashem vayaminu b'Hashem u'b'Moshe avdo. Israel saw the great hand that God inflicted upon Egypt, and the people revered God, and they had faith in God and in Moshe, his servant. Okay, so I understand why they believed in God at that moment. But why mention Moshe? Why was it so important to acknowledge Moshe? You have to admit, it's a bit strange to say the least. Why, at this exact moment, does the Torah tell us that they believed in God and also in Moshe? What is the message here? Why is it important to mention Moshe after mentioning God? Rabbi Yisroel Salanter was one of the greatest rabbis of the 19th century. He founded what's known as the Mussar movement, focusing on Jewish ethics and Jewish morality. There's a great story about him that I want to share with you today. One time, Rabbi Yisroel Salanter gave a fiery speech about the meaning of faith. Immediately afterward, one of his students approached him. "Rebbe," he said, "are you telling me that if I have perfect faith, emunah shalema in God, He will provide me with all my needs?" Rabbi Salanter nodded. "Of course, absolutely," he said. "If you have complete and perfect faith in Hashem, He will certainly provide for you." The student smiled happily. "Thank you, Rebbe. I have complete faith in Hashem, which means I no longer need to work. I can sit and study Torah and rely on my emunah, and the money that I need in order to survive will come to me in full, as if it were manna from heaven, because I believe in God totally and completely. Emunah shalema." Well, true to his word, the student went home and began to study Torah diligently, without interruption. He stopped working and worrying about his parnasa, his livelihood. After all, he believed in God, so God would provide. But the thing is, 1 week went by and no money appeared. His mailbox was empty. His bank account was at zero. He returned to Rabbi Yisroel Salanter, dejected. I don't understand, he said to the rabbi. I have the faith you said that I needed to have, 100% faith. But so far, no money has arrived. What's going on? I need 20,000 rubles to live out the year, and I don't have it. Rabbi Yisroel Salanter thought for a moment, and suddenly his face lit up. I'll tell you what, he said. I've got a proposal for you. I've got a deal for you. I will offer you 8,000 rubles in cash today if you commit to giving me the 20,000 rubles that you're sure will come to you because of your faith in God. The student paused for a moment. Sounds like a fantastic deal, he thought to himself. He smiled. 8,000 rubles, sure, I'll take it. Rabbi Yisroel Salanter shook his head and sighed. Who, in his right mind, would give up 20,000 rubles for just 8,000 rubles, he said. Do you know who would do that? Only someone who doesn't have perfect faith that he will receive 20,000 rubles. If you were absolutely 100% sure that you are imminently going to get 20,000 rubles, absolutely confident that it is in the bank already, you would never give it up for just 8,000. Obviously, you have more faith in my 8,000 than in God's 20,000. There's an incredible lesson in that story. The Torah is telling us, first and foremost, that the nation feared God, believed in God, and then, and only then, that the nation believed in Moshe. First and foremost, you need to believe in Hashem. Faith in Hashem is the springboard, the platform, the foundation for any faith that one has in mortal messengers, people like Moshe or like Rabbi Yisroel Salanter, who are only vehicles of God's command. Sadly, man believes in man much faster than he believes in God. One hot tip from some stock market expert, and people will spend who knows how much money on shares. Ominous predictions by analysts about economic doom and disaster that are allegedly on their way. And that sends us all into a panic. A doctor gives us a dire prognosis, and we go nuts. We react with despair. It's because we all forget that the faith we need to have is in Hashem. Only once we will believe in Hashem can we believe in his messengers. First of all, you must believe in God. Then, and only then, you can believe in those to whom God has granted wisdom. Rabbi Yerucham Levovitz Zichrona Livracha was the mashgiach of the pre-war Mir Yeshiva. He explained that the Jewish nation at the Red Sea reached the highest level of faith. Yes, they followed Moshe, but it wasn't because he was charismatic or because he had a record of stellar leadership. No, it was due to their total faith in Hashem. It was because they believed in Hashem that they believed in Moshe, not the other way around. And that is the faith of those who take the leap, like Nachshon ben Aminadov. It is the kind of faith that no one would ever trade for any offer, any deal in the world. Wishing you Shabbat Shalom. Have a beautiful Shabbat Shira. And may we see Yeshuas and Simchas for us and for our communities and for all of Klal Yisrael. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos.